Gateway Kids. I am so glad to be teaching you or introducing you to the class this week. As you all know, we are unable to meet, so we're glad that we can bring you the story in such a way. And I wanted to be in our classroom to give you guys a sense of being home and a sense of normality with everything that's going on right now. So I'm so glad that we're here. I'm glad you guys are tuning in. Today is Easter. What a wonderful day, right guys? Today we celebrate the most amazing thing that's ever happened. The most amazing thing that's ever happened is Jesus' resurrection. So in about a couple of minutes, we'll go watch the video so that you guys can see the story. I also wanted to remind those that tuned in on Thursday. The question is, why did Jesus become human? Okay, so I'm hoping that most of you had time to think about it, or even went into the Bible verses that I gave for you guys to kind of get acquainted with the story. But we'll go back and talk a little bit about that after we watch the video.
After Jesus was arrested, he was led to the high priest. The religious leaders were trying to find a reason to kill Jesus, but they could not. The high priest asked, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" Jesus replied, "Yes, that's right." The high priest said, "He has spoken against God. He deserves to die." The religious leaders refused to believe that Jesus was God's son. In the morning, the religious leaders led Jesus to Pilate, the governor. "Are you the king of the Jews?" Pilate asked. "Yes, that's right," Jesus replied. "What should I do with Jesus?" Pilate asked the crowd. "Crucify him," they answered. Pilate did not think Jesus had done anything wrong, but he handed Jesus over and said, "Do whatever you want." The governor's soldiers put a scarlet robe on Jesus. They made a crown of thorns and put it on his head. Then they mocked him. "Here is the King of the Jews." They beat Jesus and led him away to be killed. The soldiers nailed Jesus to a cross. They put a sign above his head that said, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Two criminals were crucified next to him. Darkness covered the land. Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Jesus shouted again, and then he died. Suddenly, the curtain in the temple sanctuary split in two from top to bottom, and there was an earthquake. One of the men guarding Jesus' body said, "This man really was God's son." Jesus was buried in a tomb. A stone was sealed in front of the tomb so that no one could steal Jesus' body. On the third day, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to the tomb. Suddenly, there was an earthquake. An angel of the Lord rolled back the stone and sat on it. The guards were so afraid that they fainted. The angel spoke to the woman, "Don't be afraid. I know you are looking for Jesus. He is not here. He has risen, just like he said he would." The women left the tomb quickly. They ran to tell the disciples the good news. Just then, Jesus greeted them. The women worshiped him. "Don't be afraid," Jesus told them. "Tell my followers to go to Galilee. They will see me there." Jesus appeared to Peter and then to the other disciples. Jesus also appeared to more than 500 people who followed him. Many people witnessed that Jesus is alive. Jesus' death and resurrection is the center of the gospel. In Adam, we were spiritually dead in sin, but Jesus died to pay for our sins. Jesus is alive. God gives new life to everyone who trusts in Jesus.
Wow, so that was an amazing story of love, right? And thinking back on the question that I asked, which was, why did Jesus become human? Did the story help you understand why he became human? It sure makes me think. So I'm going to read something to you guys, and I hope you understand it. I'll try to explain it. It says here, Jesus became human to obey his Father's plan and rescue sinners. Who's a sinner? What is sin? Remember, we've talked about that in our other classes. God had a plan since before the creation of the world. His plan including sending Jesus, his own son, to earth as a human. We go back to the question, why would he send him? Jesus obeyed and came as a human so that he could perfectly understand our suffering and pain that comes from sin and live the sinless life we failed to live. Only Christ was perfect. Only Christ was sinless. But he came to understand sin for forgiveness so that when we are going through something and we ask him in prayer, he understands that and he shows us love and grace. He then died on the cross for our sins and rose again to defeat death. That's how he rescued sinners. The ultimate act of love was when Jesus died on the cross and rose the third day. And this is what Easter is about. I hope you guys understand it and understand the love that Christ has for all of us. Even when we make mistakes, even when we don't follow the rules at home, listen to our parents, or even fight with our siblings, he forgives. All you have to do is ask him and truly ask for forgiveness, and he will forgive you. I also wanted to remind you guys of our key passage this week, which is in John 3:30. And it reads, "He must increase, but I must decrease."